Coming up on this episode of Freedom from Fire, we'll look at a number of dangers that could harm you and your family, from floods to fires to strokes. Later in the show, we'll see a new way of teaching children about fire safety. The model used in the demonstration may look like an ordinary dollhouse, but it will be the coolest one you've ever seen, especially since it can help save lives. We have that plus a lot more, so stay tuned to Freedom from Fire. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, Fire Commissioner Derrick Sawyer. Here at Freedom from Fire, we aim to improve your quality of life by giving you fire and life safety information. We also introduce you to our local safety partners. We have a great demonstration planned for you later in this show. We'll meet the captain of the Fire Prevention Division, who will show you the department's hazard house. It's a model home that is used to show children and adults what happens during a fire and teaches them what they should do to be safe. You won't want to miss it. We'll also look at some emergencies you may encounter and meet the people who will be there to help. Our firefighters not only battle fires, but also deal with floods and other dangerous situations. As the summer months approach, so does the increase of thunderstorms and a chance of flash flooding. Do you know what to do if you encounter a flooded street? The Sawyer reporter, Capt. Montana, has our latest Man on the Street quiz to see what you know about flooding.
Hi, I'm Capt. Montana, and today I'm standing outside the Union on this beautiful day. And usually days like this, no one's thinking about floods, but today we're testing LaSalle University students on their knowledge about flooding. Let's check it out. What percentage of flood-related drownings occur when a vehicle is driven into hazardous flood water?
20%.
35%?
Around 35.
20. It's actually more than 50%.
What?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Many people underestimate the force and power of water. I know, I think I do. How many inches of fast-moving flood water does it take to knock over an adult? Yes, an adult.
8 inches.
3 inches?
Maybe about 4 inches.
200 inches? I don't know.
3 inches?
You're close. It's actually just 6 inches. But like 6 inches to knock over an adult? That's insane. I hope that never happens to me. How many inches of rushing water does it take to carry away a small car?
8?
10?
24 inches?
4 inches.
It's actually 12 inches.
12 inches?
Just 12 inches.
My car's kind of light, so yeah.
Yeah, I would watch out. Now you know, though, not to drive when there's 12 inches of rushing water coming down at you. What is a phrase that the government has created to remind people that they shouldn't drive around barriers placed to stop people from going through flooded roads? So can you think of like the catchphrase maybe they have?
I've actually never heard that.
All right, well, it goes like this. Turn around, don't drown. So you want to repeat it? I know, so now let's repeat it so you always remember.
Turn around, don't drown.
Turn around, don't drown.
Turn around and don't drown.
There we go.
Hey.
Turn around, don't drown.
There we go, said from the expert. How long do flash floods normally last for?
2 to 4 hours.
Half hour?
20 minutes, give or take.
It's rarely no more than an hour. So yeah, it could last 20 minutes, but usually no longer than an hour. So now we learned that swift moving water can quickly take on our vehicle and even us. What are other reasons for not going through floodwater? So why shouldn't we, if it's really flooded, go and drive?
There can be sharp objects in the water that could puncture your tires or damage your car.
Potholes and kind of hiding objects in the water. Potholes.
Yes.
You don't know how deep the water is. So, casually driving along, nice little stroll, and car plummets into a pothole. I guess I don't know. I guess there could be people chilling down there. You don't know.
The water's covering the people?
Yeah, like the poor people. They didn't turn around, so they drowned, and you just, you didn't help them out.
Yeah, I mean, that, water covers people, so you...
Poor guy. They got swept away. And
Hopefully you are not covered in water, because then someone will miss you and you will be dead.
Yes.
But besides the fact, it's also because sharp objects you won't be able to see. Right, like you said, washed out road surfaces, electrical wires, and chemical/sewage. Now, according to the National Weather Service, what percentage of presidential disaster declarations are associated with flooding?
65%.
So I would guess it would happen during the summertime most of the time, but then I would have to take account to the mid America. So I guess I would say 60%.
80.
Go down 5 more.
75%.
Yes, 75%. What is the difference between a flood watch and a flood warning?
A flood watch is probably a storm coming in and they're just on watch, while a flood warning is like nearby areas are probably flooded, so to be aware.
A flood watch means that it might happen because of rain or something like that, and then a flood warning means it's likely because there'd be a lot more rain.
Well, I would say a flood watch would kind of be like warning of a potential flood, where a flood warning is like a flood is definitely in the area.
That's exactly correct. Good job, Helen.
Thanks, Callie. If you encounter a flooded street, remember to turn around, don't drown. You never know how much water you may be entering or what may be lurking in those waters. Play it safe. The Philadelphia Fire Department gets called to a variety of emergencies, including flooding. We have an assortment of tools at our disposal, and the vehicles we use all have a specific use. The sound producer, Mark Wilson, set out to our Germantown firehouse to find out more about these rigs. Let's first take a look at Engine 19 and learn what role the truck and its crew play at a fire.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Edward Gramlin, Pipeline 19 on the D, and I'm here to show you what it's like in the life of a firefighter at Engine 19. I want to introduce my crew to you, starting with firefighter Ernest Holly, firefighter Mike Brennan, and firefighter Derrick Clark. This is the pump panel, and we're going to show you a little demonstration on how the pump is used and getting the right pressures out to the water that we use for attacking a fire. Starting out, we're going to start at the top. That's the intake gauge. That gauge is going to allow us to know how much pressure we're getting in from a supply line. Next, we have the discharge gauge. That's going to be our reading of the amount of pressure and water that we have going out of the pump. We keep our fittings and our adapters. Starting at the bottom here are all our fittings, our hydrant reducer, our hydrant wrenches. The DPOP would take to the hydrant before we start supplying our hose line with it. What we have here is a manifold. Okay, the manifold is used as large diameter. It basically is a gate valve to help us control the flow of water. Starting on my left here, we have what we call a street line. It's another one of our attach lines. It gives us more distance than our regular pre-connect line. This is what we call the line, the supply line that goes to the hydrant. We have our inch and 3/4 pre-connect attack line. That's our bread and butter there. That's the line we use to put mostly out all our structure fires with. Here we have our high-rise bag. Our high-rise bags are used mainly to get a hose line, our attack hose line, up in the high-rise buildings that we fight. In this compartment, the top compartment, we carry our hand tools. All the different type of hand tools. We may need forcible entry using an axe or a hologen or a maul. Our EMS compartment, which comprises of our first in EMS bag, all kind of first aid equipment we may use for EMS call.
Now, in addition to an engine, some fire companies also have a ladder truck. This truck has an entirely different purpose than the engine. What is that difference? The sound producer Mark Wilson stayed around at our Germantown fire station a little while longer to find out. Here's what a ladder does.
I'm Lieutenant Frank Gagliardi of the Philadelphia Fire Department, Ladder 8 in Germantown. I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of our ladder and some of the tools that we carry. This is our RIT basket for our rapid intervention team. On any fire, a ladder company will be standing by with this basket in case any firemen go down. This is what we use to go get them. These are our hearse tools, commonly referred to as the jaws of life. We use this mainly for vehicle extrication. These are the spreaders here for spreading open the door from a door jam. We have these are the cutters here. We can use that to cut posts on the car or cut different parts of the car. And we also have a ram, which is just a long bar that helps us to access different parts of the car. So these are our hand tools. As a ladder company, we don't really carry hose. Our primary mission is search and rescue. These are our saws, our power saws. We use this, again, for forcible entry, but primarily we use this on fires to open up the roof. Again, one of our big tasks is ventilation. All right, so again, as a ladder company, our primary missions are search and rescue and ventilation. And to facilitate that, we use our portable ladders here. We have a multitude of different sizes. We have two 16-foot ladders, two 20-foot ladders, a 28-foot extension ladder, 35-foot extension ladder, and a 45-foot extension ladder. Carry them off the back here and a couple on the sides as well. This is our airbag system designed for lifting extremely heavy loads. The numbers you see printed on there is the tonnage that each bag can support. So this largest bag here can support almost 30 tons. The yellow around there is just cribbing, so as we lift, we crib so that in case anything fails, it doesn't fall right back down on us. Advantages of the main ladder. One is obviously the reach. It can extend up to 100 feet, which is twice as long as any of our ground ladders. Another big advantage is it only takes one person to raise.
Thanks, Mark. And thanks to Engine 19 and Ladder 8 in Germantown for showing us their rigs and explaining what they do when they're called out to an incident. Of course, our ultimate goal is to have those rigs never leave the station. We want people to know how to prevent fires and what to do if one does occur. Fire prevention training needs to start early in life. According to the U.S. Fire Administration, more than half of child fire deaths are among children aged 4 or younger. Your family needs to have an escape plan, and everyone needs to practice it. No matter what the family member's age, if a fire breaks out in your home, you may have less than 3 minutes to get everyone out safely once the alarm sounds. Children under 4 years of age are at higher risk of death or injury from a home fire. The older children have a plan for young children who cannot get outside themselves. Older children sometimes need help getting out of the house fire, and they may not know how to escape or what to do unless an adult shows them. Practice the escape route with them. You should also teach your children about the danger of fire. Children are often curious about fire and might play with items like lighters, matches, or stovetops. Between 2007 and 2011, fires started by play accounted for almost 50,000 fires per year. Those accidental fires caused 80 deaths and 860 injuries. Each year, about $235 million in direct property damage was attributed to fires caused by play during each year of that time. When it comes to fires started by play, it's been found that younger children were more likely to set fires in homes, while older children and teenagers are more likely to set fires outside. Lighters were the heat source in just half of those fires in homes involved play. 39% of home fires involved play began in the bedroom. There are some simple things you can do to help children stay safe. They play keep children 3 feet from anything that can get hot or burn. Space heaters and stovetops can cause terrible burns. Keep smoking materials and candles locked up in a high place. Never place cigarette lighters or matches where children can reach them. Make sure there are safety covers over electrical outlets so children do not hurt themselves. Again, it's important to teach children fire safety at a young age. However, if you've ever been around toddlers or even preschoolers, you know they can be a tough crowd to reach. That's why our Fire Prevention Division has started using the Hazard House. We're going to take a tour through this model home when we return. But before we go to the break, it's time for another one of our first aid segments. The sound producer and EMT, Mike Brown. is here to show us how to identify when someone is having a stroke.
Hi everybody, I'm Mike Brown from Freedom from Fire, and today we're talking about how to recognize the signs and symptoms of a stroke. A stroke is when blood flow is cut off to an area of the brain, and this can lead to death of the tissue cells there, which is a severe medical condition. When you're thinking about recognizing the signs and symptoms of a stroke, you're going to want to act fast. FAST is an acronym that reminds you to look for face, arm, speech, and time. If you notice a facial droop, or someone has weakness on one side of their body in their arms, or their speech is slurred or irregular, these may be signs of a stroke. The T in FAST stands for time. You're going to want to take note of the last time you saw the person without these symptoms. Remember, in the event of a stroke, you're going to want to act fast and call 911 right away. For Freedom from Fire, I'm Mike Brown.
I think that a healthy body image means that, you are comfortable being the best you that you can be.
I think it's also part of the mental mind and how a person feels that they're perceived, because if they're confident, it's going to show in the way they act, how they dress.
If you're happy with how you look, you're comfortable, that means you're happy and you're healthy.
My ideal body image would be one where someone's healthy and happy.
If you or someone you know is struggling to maintain a healthy body image, visit the National Eating Disorder Association's website at www.nedawareness.org.
You are now watching LaSalle TV.
Welcome back to Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, Fire Commissioner Derrick Sawyer. Before we went to break, I was saying how important it is to teach children about fire safety. Fire departments across the country spend many hours in grade school showing videos and explaining the importance of a home escape plan. The goal is not to only educate children, but to get them to carry the message home to their families as well. One way to better educate children is through our hazard house. As you can see, it certainly looks like some houses in our community. Together, we'll see how a house can be organized to reduce the risk of fire, how to detect ways of controlling the fire, how to escape from the fire threat situation. With the hazard house, we can encourage children to pretend to be savvy detectives looking to discover any potential dangers located within the house. They can closely examine each room and try to identify elements that should or could be hazardous to their safety. Here with us today to demonstrate the hazard house and how it works is Captain of the Fire Prevention Division, Will Dixon. Captain Dixon, how you making out?
Good, sir. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks for joining us on Freedom from Fire.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So this is huge and amazing.
Absolutely. It's actually 4x4 hazard house that we have here in fire prevention, and we felt that this would be an excellent training tool for our students out there in schools and different community areas to show them about the safety of fires in their home.
Great. So let's go to the house and see where the hazards are.
Absolutely, absolutely. But before we get started, I wanted to show you something, and I want this to be a sound that everybody recognizes.
I know that sound.
So do I. That's the sound of our smoke alarm right there, Commissioner.
Right. And it shows each level, right?
Each level. We definitely have a smoke alarm in each level, which everyone should try to work to having a smoke alarm on each level.
Great.
Speaking of levels, let's actually start at, this looks like a house.
Yes.
Like a lot of the houses here in Philadelphia. We
Right.
want to start at each level and talk about the various hazards that exist to them and what we can possibly do to rectify them.
All right.
We see we got Mom over there in the top attic right there, and she has a candle. Wow, we thinking candle is something that we used back in the old days to look and see what we could see into our rooms. But actually it's a hazard because it could start a fire. We also see that there's a raccoon in the attic, as critters sometimes get into, chewing on wire. So the first thing we want to ask our children is, how can we possibly rectify a situation like that? First, number one, we want to make sure that Mom certainly has a flashlight.
That's right.
We get ourselves an exterminator to get rid of the rodents.
Right.
And this is a more safer way to actually go through that area.
Now it's safe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right here, we notice we have a grandparent. We have two grandparents in the bedroom. One is reading, and the other one is actually in bed smoking a little bit. So what we kind of want to do is kind of show you some things that a person should not do and what it could possibly look like if someone is actually in that area. We're going to try to get it where we can actually get it light up. Oh, that's our other one. But let's work in this area, excuse me, in which we can show you a person actually lighting up a cigarette right here. Well, you can actually see it here, and actually what we want to do is rectify the situation before we actually demonstrate. You actually want to be in a bedroom where no one is actually smoking in there, which is a good thing, and it keeps everyone safe in there. It stops that smoke alarm from going off.
Yes, it does.
Here in this particular room, we have a toddler, and it actually looks innocent right now, but if you pay particular attention, the toddler is near a window. We certainly don't want our toddlers near, where windows at. We certainly want to rectify that situation. Move the baby out of the window area, certainly close that up, and move the crib in the area in which
That's right. It's much easier. Much safer, right?
Will not happen. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what we're practicing here, safety. Absolutely. As we walk over here, we actually see a resident right here in their bathroom in bubble tab. Listen, I love bubble baths. I think bubble baths are fantastic.
Really?
Absolutely, sir.
Wow.
Absolutely. Mr. Bubbles is my friend.
Mr. Bubbles, your friend? All right.
Absolutely. So right here, but you actually see that the person is actually playing with the radio. Now, what could we possibly think of radios and water? It could possibly cause a problem.
Oh, he got electrocuted.
He got electrocuted. Yeah. This is something that we strongly urge our young people not to do, and certainly keep the radio far away. And what can we possibly do to rectify this situation? Certainly move the radio to a different place in our bathroom area. All right, we want to make sure we keep things safe like that. We go into the bedroom. We have our young man sleeping.
Candles again, right?
You got those candles again, and the kitty cat Whiskers is playing with the candles again. Certainly we want to move that area so it doesn't catch clothes on fire and rectify that area like so. We also have a heater right next to them, a space heater. Now great, I know a lot of people use them in the wintertime.
Space heaters need what?
They need to be, you need to back them away. Exactly,
right.
Exactly, at least 3 feet away,
That's
sir.
Right.
So what we want to do is actually move this away out of that area, away so it doesn't burn any bedding or anything along that line. We also see over in this area that we could possibly set some things up with fire. We have a bag over here with some combustibles. Move anything that can possibly light anything on fire, particularly a curtain area, and move it out of the way completely.
Nice.
This is an area that we're all familiar with in our kitchen.
The kitchen.
And we actually see a pot on here in our kitchen, and I'm always wondering, like, wow.
There's paper towels.
There's paper towels and there's light up, but what could possibly start that to light up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Somebody's actually cooking on a stove. Cooking on that stove can actually start that to light up. What we want to do is to make sure, in all possible ways, to make sure we had a lid to cover it at all times, and try to remove it off the surface as quickly as possible. And what we do to rectify that situation?
Paper towel somewhere else.
Put the paper towel somewhere else.
Yeah.
But you also notice we have an electrical outlet there again. We got to be careful that we don't overload our circuits. It's very important. We want to make sure we keep that. Don't, again, it can get us shocked at all times. And this is another thing, Commissioner, that a lot of things that we don't think about is our trip hazards. We have cords and things along that line that can possibly trip someone going down the steps.
Clutter.
So what we want to do is absolutely make sure we get that clutter up at all times. Clear that area up so it's safe for anyone to walk down that area. We also have Uncle Remus right here sitting in his couch.
Nice.
All right, now listen, I think we all have an Uncle Remus in our family there. He is actually in an area where he can actually set a cigarette in his hand, which can be pretty dangerous.
Yes.
Probably fall asleep with a cigarette in their hand can actually cause a fire. Yeah. We certainly don't want that.
So when you smoke, you should do what? Take it outside.
Take it outside, absolutely, absolutely. And it's kind of showing you a demonstration of what can possibly happen if we smoke in our residence. Right down here in this bottom part, we have another overloaded outlet. We want to make sure that we clear those outlets at all times. Make sure that it's clear from clutter and congestion. And actually show what an outlet room should look like. In the event that there is a fire or smoke, we have our phone right there to call 911, which is very important. Right. Jimmy over here is playing with matches down here in the bottom. We certainly don't want Jimmy to do that because he can certainly light this closet up on fire, and that's the last thing we want to do is have that lit up. I'm sorry, we're going to get that lit up. And we're going to light that, okay. We're going to walk over, we're going to start transitioning over here to our dry area, which a lot of things can cause a fire in a dryer, but one of the things that really can do it is that lint trap. That lint trap that we make sure that we clean out at every time and remove it, because the last thing we want to do is see this when we come down our basement.
Nice.
Also talks about moving the clutter out of there. Certainly moving our dangerous liquids. Lawnmowers, believe it or not, people actually keep those in handy. So we want to make sure that we clean everything and get everything knocked down as quickly as possible. We want that flame, instead of to look bright cherry red like that, we want it to have a blue look. It's a clean look. Also, even with our heating system, which may be that color, that orangish color, we want to make sure that at all times, excuse me, there's our smoke alarm, that it also has a blue flame as well.
Wait a minute, you're never supposed to take down a smoke alarm.
Not at all, not at all. Let me put that smoke alarm back up there. Thank you for reminding me, sir. Absolutely. So this is just some of the small features that we have concerning to our hazard house. We can actually have the whole thing light up and actually show you how smoke and escape plans that families should have for their particular residence.
So we even have a large stove, right?
Absolutely. So we have a large stove that actually you can actually use to cover the flame.
All right. So I want to thank you for joining us today. As I do every show, though, I have to ask you to do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to ask you to take the fire safety pledge with me.
Yes, sir.
All right, raise that right hand.
That right
ready?
Hand. Yes.
I love my family, and I'm responsible for their safety. Therefore, I pledge the following. I pledge to have at least one working smoke alarm on each level of my home. I pledge to test my alarms as recommended and replace my alarms with new lithium battery-powered alarms when needed. I pledge that every family member will sleep with their bedroom doors closed. I pledge to develop and practice a home escape plan. I pledge that if I cannot afford smoke alarms, I will call the city's non-emergency number 311 or visit www.phila.gov/311. All of this I do solemnly pledge. I urge all of you at home to take the fire safety pledge along with your family members. If you haven't already done so, go to freedomfromfire.com and review our fire safety checklist and prepare a home escape plan. Remember, if you would like to find out more about LaSalle TV, you can check out our social media sites, and if you're interested in learning about the Philadelphia Fire Department, visit our Facebook, Twitter, and web pages. I would like to once again thank Captain Will Dixon for joining us today. I would also like to thank you for tuning in and watching. So until next time, remember, fire is everyone's fight. Stay safe and remain free from fire.